And welcome our fellow late night lovers out there. Jazz and Lubby here with you tonight on another exciting adventure through whatever chaos we come up with this week.
Huzzah!
And there's always chaos in this thing. So in our opening life segments of Late Night Love, we dive into the complexities of work and culture, from navigating office relationships to understanding societal shifts. We're here to explore it all. And as Lubby was saying before, I guess people are getting off the chain here at work these days or something?
Yeah, people just worried about, things that are out of control. Really, has to do with coworkers, which is none ya.
Yeah, that's one of those things is where the
None ya business.
rest of these things is kind of none of your business, right? And
Yeah.
keep your head down, do what you need to do, and don't worry about other people is a generic good rule of thumb.
Look, getting involved with office politics, why? Why would you want to do that?
Life isn't exciting enough, I guess.
Pick up a hobby.
Find something real to do. Right. Okay. So what are we starting with this week?
Okay. Coworker gets our manager her favorite drink during work from coffee shop nearby and pays for it himself. Is that cute or kind of strange? I don't know if it's kind of overstepping or trying to get favoritism.
Or it could be fundamentally part of his job, and she may be handing him cash that you don't see to pay for the drink. Right. You're assuming he's paying it for himself because he's using his card or something, but she may be paying for him. She may be paying him back for that. You don't know. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about what he's doing.
What does that have to do with your job?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Maybe they're secretly lovers and you don't want to know anymore.
Just don't want to know.
So is it kind of cute or kind of strange? It's probably neither.
No. It's just coffee, dude.
He's going to get coffee for himself, and so he grabs his boss a coffee on the way back as well. It's not that big of a deal.
No.
He could be brown nosing. It's entirely, possible.
Maybe.
That's what's going on. But what are you going to do about it, even if it is? You're just going to be irritated. So don't worry about it.
You're just upsetting yourself. These people got free rent in your head.
Yeah, just don't worry about it. This is one of those things. It's the definition of just don't make other people's business yours. Yeah. All right.
How to handle a wealthy coworker who's always giving unsolicited financial advice that most people can't afford.
You do what the rest of us do and just don't pay any attention to it.
Yeah, just ignore them.
I mean, I suppose you could, if it's really irritated, you say, nobody cares, Bob, and I mean, you could do one of those type of things. But there's fundamentally, again, there's nothing to do. Yes, it's annoying if he annoys you, you can be direct and say, no one cares, Bob. But also don't assume what other people can or can't afford. Someone who's gotten financially wealthy may have done so because he invested money early, a small amount of money, invested early, and then properly reinvested, creating a large nest egg relatively quickly. He may actually know what he's talking about. Your assumption that people can't afford it, well, people can afford lots of things. People can afford a jet ski, they afford an investment, right? Mm-hmm. So just don't assume what other people do or do not want to hear. You don't want to hear Bob giving on his lectures about financial advice. It's perfectly reasonable. Don't go assuming what your coworkers do or don't want to hear. They're perfectly well able to tell Bob to stuff it. So, if you speak for yourself, not for your coworkers.
There you go.
Okay, what's next?
I took a sick day and my boss forgot to switch me with someone. Am I in the wrong here? He's 19. So someone took a shift. I mean, he's willing to, he wants those hours back.
Well, you don't understand what a sick day is. You lose those hours on a sick day, or unless you have sick time saved up. That's what sick time is for. Now, if you wanted to save those hours, then it's your responsibility to switch shifts with somebody. If you wanted to make those hours up, you find somebody to switch shifts with.
Yes.
That's your responsibility, not your boss's. Your boss's responsibility is to make sure somebody covered for you when you were gone, not to go readjust the whole schedule so you get your hours back. I get that you didn't want to lose your hours, but that's what sick time is for. And if you haven't worked there long enough or haven't earned enough sick time to cover it, then you're out of luck.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have a coworker who wants a day off and is willing to switch shifts with you, and you can get some of those hours back. But no one's owed it to you. A sick day is a sick day. Once it's gone, it's gone. Expecting your boss to rearrange everybody else's schedule so you get your hours back is, so we say, unreasonable.
We'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay. Should your boss be asking you to get stuff for the office? Well, he wants her to go get, say, pens.
Yeah. Are you giving you the company credit card or or submitting the reason?
Yeah.
Then it's part of your job to go get office supplies sometimes.
But she has to use her personal vehicle. So
report the mileage. Submit for the mileage. I mean, usually it's just down the street and no one cares because it's more effort than, it's more hassle than it's worth. Yeah, you get $1.50 back. It's like the paperwork isn't enough worth $1.50. I'm not just going to do it.
Yes, it is to this person. It is.
Then she needs to do it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's her own little protest.
It's not a protest. It's your job.
No.
Apparently it is.
But why should she have to use her car?
Because do they have a company car for people to use in case?
I don't know.
Probably not, because it's probably simpler. Lots of people have to use their own personal vehicles to go down the street, to go to the store to get something real quick. Happens all the time. It's not some huge unreasonable request. Now, if I suppose you could try to renegotiate your job description, but it's probably in there.
That's probably under those other duties as assigned. I hated that.
No, there's probably some things in there where she's responsible for making sure these things, and on occasion you having to go to the store to grab some stuff. It's not an unreasonable request. It's just not. Why are you being so offended? I mean, is the store across town? Are you having to go to the next town? Are you in some little dinky town and it's a 50-mile drive? Or are you driving a mile down the street and a mile back? It's not even 5 minutes of car time. Get over yourself.
It's right down 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. She's gone 20 minutes.
Okay, I can tell you just have no heart for this woman.
I have very little sympathy for the complaint. She wants to do the paperwork and make sure she gets compensated properly for the mileage and everything. More power to her. I have no problem with that.
I used to hate having friends with them.
But nobody likes all parts of their job. If you like 25% of your job, you're in the good side of the equation. Most people don't like most of their job. Most of it's routine, mundane, right? A portion of it just straight out sucks. And another portion of it, hey, it's pretty good, makes me happy. That's how life is. Sorry to break it down to everybody. That's how most people's life is. Even people with dream jobs have a percentage of that is stuff that just absolutely, totally sucks. Even dream jobs have 10% of stuff that just totally sucks. It's just the rest of it makes up, so you don't care about that 10%. That's all that is. For the rest of us, 25% of your job sucks. Half of your job is annoyingly mundane. It's just the same kind of stuff day in and day out. You can do it half asleep, and then there's 25% of it that, is rewarding enough to compensate for everything else. That and the size of the paycheck. You put those things together and it's worth doing. But let's not pretend that life is any different than that for most people. That's the world most people live in, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? The percentages are going to be a little different for everybody, but they're going to be roughly that. It's just because that's how life is.
That's how work is.
Yes, that's how work is. That's how work life is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just is. And if you get a higher percentage than that of stuff that you like at work, great. More power to you. I'm not gonna be jealous. I'm gonna congratulate you for having that kind of rewarding life. You know, and you want to sit there over the proverbial adult beverage or whatever and moan about the sucky parts of your job. I'm with you. I'll hang out with you. But this is just whining. I gotta go get the pins. Just go get the pins. On occasion we run out of pins and someone has to go to the store and get some. Yeah, it's you. That's life sometimes. Fill out your paperwork. Maybe you filling out the paperwork will annoy them enough so they'll stop sending you, because they don't like doing the paperwork either. So, malicious compliance. Fill out every paperwork. Make sure every T is dotted and every I is crossed, and they'll stop sending you. And there is another option. No one likes doing that crap either. Okay.
I said hi in a meeting and two people laughed. She logged onto the Zoom meeting. She said hi, and two people laughed.
They were having a conversation before she got there. She walks in and says hi right as it ends, and they're laughing at their conversation.
Yeah.
And of course, us as human beings, we're going to interpret that as he laughed at us because of bad timing.
Yeah. It was just bad timing.
It's just bad timing.
But she's just.
It feels very personal. It feels
in some kind of inside joke. That they're not letting her in on.
No, it was a joke, but it wasn't an inside joke. It's just you just weren't in time to hear it, and it feels very personal. This is not one of those things. I get the feeling, but it's most likely just bad timing. Stepped in right as people were kind of joking around pre-meetings, having kind of a laughing about their cat or something. Who knows what the heck they were joking about, because you weren't there to hear it. But it wasn't about you. You only said hi. Now, maybe it was a ill-timed hi because the joke happened to have been about some goofy thing, and you happened to pop in hi and kind of just punch the joke even harder. And it's not you personally. It's just timing. It could have been something like that, but it's not you personally. It just is what it is. Put it up on a chalkboard of all the other things that you've been embarrassed about that really had nothing to do about you.
Nothing to do about you.
That's just that. It is what it is. Okay.
Would you consider 1 week of domestic travel every other month a lot?
Well, it depends on the job, right? If you're a traveling salesman, then no, that's not a lot at all. That's pretty slim. If you're a truck driver, no, of course not. If you're a specialist, repair technician for some kind of high-end industry, you could get sent places, on location to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
None of these things are unreasonable. It just depends on what your industry is.
Okay.
So
I forget.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should have dug a little deeper.
And sometimes these things are cycles. Maybe you've got to go off to training, you got to go off to conferences, or maybe you're the person who does the conferences, and about once a month there's a conference somewhere, and so you're the conference guy or the conference person, right? Mm-hmm. So there's hundreds of jobs where travel is routine, and this person likely just has one of those. And as the partner for that, right? If you're the partner, I'm assuming this is the spouse, and this guy traveling all the time. It's because it's part of his job. That's just usually what it is. You make the most of the time you have, and
we get all insecure. Yeah. Sure, it's work.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
Because loneliness does strange things to the mind, right?
Yeah.
And that's all that means is you're lonely. Now, part of that means maybe you're not connected enough during the other 3 weeks. Maybe you're overly connected, and so when you don't have that, you feel lost and unguided because you don't have anything else to lean on.
Uh-huh.
So find something else to lean on. If you're religious, church, find something on your churches for those weeks. Those are the weeks you get to go, volunteer at the church or at the community center or whatever it is you're doing. Find something to do to re-engage you. Your life doesn't have to revolve around your spouse. In fact, it's probably a good idea not to. It's not really fair for them to be responsible for your entire happiness. It's not very fair, is it?
But you do it so well.
I'm not responsible for your entire happiness.
No, I was making a joke.
Yes, I know, but that's the point, is you're not. No one's responsible for the other person. You're responsible for not making them unhappy. That's your responsibility. Right?
If I can add a little bit of sparkle to your life, a little bit of ease, a little bit of helping with one of your tasks. You don't, I tell you work, man. I don't work. I take care of you. You don't do laundry.
I do when I need to.
When I'm gone.
Or sometimes you don't feel like doing laundry and I'm out of the clothes. So
That's true.
And also I just I don't have a fit or bad. Why hasn't she done laundry? I'm a grown man. I know how to put clothes in the washer machine. It's not like I got to take it out of the stream and beat it with the rock. And there's some extra special technique to make sure that they actually get clean. No, you throw them in the washing machine. You turn this stinking thing. Even though when you were gone, it took me like an embarrassing amount of time to figure out how to turn that stupid washing machine on. Apparently I just need to leave it alone. I'm used to washing machines that respond quickly.
Oh no.
And so I keep forgetting that this one is just as dumb as a box of rocks. Well, if a dumb washing machine would respond quickly, push the button, it'd start. This thing, it does stuff before it starts. And I don't know what it does, but it does stuff. It just sits there for a few minutes and then randomly decides to start.
When you text me, I don't know, the washer, I can't start the washer. And I thought for a second there, the man is telling me he doesn't know how to use the washing machine.
No, I know how to use the washing machine. It's just a stupid thing wouldn't turn on. It clicks like it's locking the lid, but it doesn't lock the lid. What's going on?
You have to wait.
Yeah, apparently I'm not patient when it comes to wanting the washing machine to start. That's and that I did figure out later. I did eventually figure out that just waiting is the solution to that problem. Just push the button, it clicks, walk away. That's it starting. And I just didn't get that click was it's starting.
That's it. It's starting its little rotation.
It sometimes takes 30 seconds to think. It sometimes takes 3 minutes to think. It
does. It does.
I didn't understand that because I don't,
But
it's not like I've never used that thing before. So I was going, what the heck?
I know, you told me that, and I'm like, how long has it been since we washed clothes?
I've used it before. I didn't understand. I was you thought you were confused. I was confused. So, anyway. All right, where were we at now?
Okay. At what age and career level did you start making good money? And this young man is 23.
Oh, that is has so many variables on it that finding out when other people did it is pointless. Because you can find someone on the spectrum, people who, at 23 were starting their own businesses and millionaires. You can also find guys like Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when he started KFC. So these are not, it's not such a simple question. The real question to ask is, am I on the path I want to be on? And what am I doing to continue it? Because good money, the definition of good money is going to be different depending upon where you live and who you are. If you're in San Francisco and have grown up around lots of money, your definition of good money is going to be vastly different than someone who grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, had a nice middle-class life, and that's really all they're looking for, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to have vastly different things. Even if the person in Oklahoma was the rich guy and the person in San Francisco was the middle class, they're still going to have vastly different ideas of what good money is, because the middle class in San Francisco is probably fairly well off in Tulsa, type of thing. So it really depends where you're starting from, the industry you're in, your own personal motivations. There is no direct answer. The answer is you work on you try to progress, make you the best employee, the best professional in whatever field you're in. Just keep working towards that. And don't be afraid to try, opportunities that are just outside your reach. Not too far outside your reach, just outside your reach. Try a little farther, just a little bit farther, not too far, because that's a highly likelihood of failure. But if you're comfortable at a certain line, it means you're ready to go past it. So you go a little past it, half a step. When you're comfortable with that, then you go another half a step. When you're comfortable with that, you go another half a step. And you slowly work your way up, your professional ladder. And as many people are finding out, sometimes you have to change. You have to change your professions. You have to be nimble. Just because you've made it at 30 doesn't mean you're going to have made it at 40. You can lose everything and have to start over. So that's why by focusing on you, and not focusing on some theoretical end goal that is, in your case, 60 years down the road, focus on tomorrow, focus on you to now. Just keep swimming, my friend.
Just keep swimming.
Don't create a false goal. Your goal is to be better tomorrow than you were today. To be better next month than you were last month.
That's it.
To be better next year than you were this year. That's your goal. And the rest will follow. As long as you don't be dumb, right? And there will be setbacks. Some of them will be your fault and some of them won't. But you're responsible for dealing with them. I know I'm not being very encouraging, but the most encouraging thing about being 23 is your life is now in your hands. The good thing about being responsible for your own life is no one else is responsible for your successes or your failures. Only you. That means you get to judge what your successes and failures are. So that's some freedom right there. So go, just make whatever your life is. Don't worry about the good money. Worry about having enough. Then worry about being your best self. And the good money will follow. It's the only advice I've got. Okay,
last question. Why is there a shortage of skilled workers in America despite the unemployment rates?
Okay, this is an interesting thing. There's not really a shortage of skilled workers. There's a shortage of companies willing to train. Because for the last number of decades, you can pick a number from 1 to 7, and you will not be incorrect. We have our businesses and our unions, frankly, have offloaded the training of these things to schools and universities. Back in the day, when you needed skilled workers, you trained them, businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You found people who are bright or adept in a similar field or had transferable skills, and you trained them up.
Yeah.
And for a while, unions took over some of that role.
Mm-hmm.
And so then unions and businesses could work together. Unions trained the workers, businesses hired them.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of worked together. But somewhere along the way, we have lost that, and we for whatever reason, we offloaded that to schools. And the schools are the wrong thing to train skilled workers. It's the wrong format to train those kind of things, right? Schools can give you base education and base learning, so then you can go to a union or a business and learn the actual skill in a trade, and learn the actual techniques that function in the real world. Schools aren't very good at that part.
They never have been.
It's not their role.
They don't do that.
That's not really their role. But we have offloaded that. And so again, why are all these kids coming out unskilled? Because we didn't teach them skills. Pilots are actually starting to make some adjustments to that. You can now go to pilot school, and so there are signs that these things are starting to change in industries that are having real shortages, because the companies are sponsoring people to go to flight universities.
Nice.
And so that, while they're still offloading them to universities, in a sense, they're offloading them to specific programs and they're paying for it.
Okay.
And so it's better, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing is, once they get through these flight universities, they still have to go to airline training. Because each airline operates their own set of fleets and their own planes. It's a very complicated thing. Training pilots is highly complicated.
Yeah.
And thankfully so, right?
I want them to be, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want it to be a highly complex thing. I want
them to have to grasp it.
I want those who shouldn't be in there to have plenty of opportunities to wash out. That's yes, that's what I want. That's more important than anything else.
With no shame.
No, it's not everybody should be a brain surgeon. It's that type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason we have shorter skilled workers is because our businesses have forgotten that it's their role to train people. Some of them are starting to realize that. I mean, in the tech industries, they've dropped a lot of their, degree requirements, because they finally realized that we have to train them anyway. So why don't we just go get smart kids and just bring them in here and train them? Because in many senses, we have to untrain what they've learned in school, because what they learn in school puts them in a thinking box, and they need to go into the real world and get out of that thinking box. So much of education puts you in boundaries, but when you actually go into the real world and having to solve highly technical problems, you need to be able to, see the world from a different perspective. So, anyway, the short answer, because we're not training them.
That's the short answer. Yeah.
And let's be honest. Let's put the onus on those people who need the workers, need to train them. It's the most fundamental rule of life, right? You need people trained. You got to go train them. Don't come whining to me. I can't do nothing about it. You've got the need and the resources. Train them. So, all right, that is it for our live segment this week. For me and Lubby, have a good night. Please remember to love everybody, and you can always find us at latenightLove.us, and you can send us your questions and comments to love@latenightLove.us.